second portfolio track called 758, obviously recorded by obviously Hatman and his band. This is mainly my drum track. So today I'll be talking to you about the static mix, signal to noise ratio, DBFS, dynamic range, headroom, EQ, the compression, effects used, Melodyne. I won't be talking about because I haven't used Melodyne. Automation, and obviously what went well, what didn't, and what can be improved, and any other bits that I'd like to put in as well. So let's just give a little sort of listen. So 30-second listen or whatever. Alright, so there we go. So just a little listen to the song. So now we're going to talk about the static mixing. Right, so we're going to just look on the kick in and kick out. So I've just left these the same really. In recording, I made the kick out sort of a bit more louder, as you can hear. I wanted that because again I like my kicks to be sort of a bit more woofy. You know, I don't really like them that slappy, so I'm left them like that. With this snare, this top snare especially, I think the way I've recorded it could have been done a lot better, considering it's on plus 2.6. When I put it on 0, it's very quiet, do you know what I mean? Like, so putting it at 2.6 is really a must. The bottom snare was, as you can hear, if I put it up, it's very like very sort of rattly. So I've dropped that down by about sort of, I think it was 8.6 or 8.4 and then 8.6. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really too keen on the sound of that snare. The same with the rag tom and the floor tom. I've just left alone because they're not really played that much during the track. The overheads, so the left overhead and the right overhead. So the left overhead is on -3 and then the right one's on -2.6, because in some recording it, I think the right overhead was just sounded a bit louder, so I've just dropped it down by 0.4 dB. Obviously I panned them and stuff. The left one's down by 3. The bass I've dropped down by 2.8. We record it through the mesher as well, because I think it gives such a nice sort of warm sound, especially when playing like recording bass. I think that is way too loud. 2.6 is alright. I think even 2.6 may be a bit loud. But yeah. This guitar I've dropped down. It's very loud, so I've dropped it down to like 4.2. Obviously panning it to the left as well. Got the other one panned more to the right, only by 58. And this obviously dropped down to -6.2. So again, it's quite loud. That's about it. Obviously my drums again, I've sent all my drums to an auxiliary, so the drums auxiliary, which is what I like doing. So yeah. Alright, cool. So let's talk about the signal to noise ratio. So again, the only way I can sort of explain and put an example of this is with the noise gate. So on the floor tom, I've got rid of all this. If we get rid of this and we just zoom in, so again, like on the floor tom, I've got rid of all this, which was just nothing, and obviously kept in the floor tom. We solo it, we play it, you get the floor tom. And with the rack tom, I mean, I could have got rid of it all, but you know what I mean, I just stick a noise gate on it and it just makes such a difference. It just gets rid of all the noise, turn it off, you've got all that going on. I don't want that, you know what I mean? It just creates more sort of, again, noise that we don't want. So I stick it on, we play it to the rack tom, and you've got the rack tom, simple as. So we go on to the DBFS. So really, there is quite a bits into this song, and there is louder bits in. Good example would be like a breakdown again. This where it goes very sort of quiet, and then comes back in, and then that is probably the best example of decibels relative to full scale in this track. So the dynamic range. I don't know. I personally think it's quite a sort of a loud track. Again, I've kept minimal use of compression. The compression on there is just a limiter. I don't want it all compressed. Do you know what I mean? I like it. I mean, I think the only bit of compression that I've used in the whole track is on the bass. That's it. Do you know what I mean? But I've already, can talk about that later. But yeah, so just literally that. The headroom, playing the track, the headroom on the drums. So the headroom on the drums as a full is good, but obviously on the headroom on the drums auxiliary is peaking mad. I've literally I've not put a compressor on there because I've just put a limiter, like compressor limiter, and just literally just on the output, and that's about it. Mastering, I've done no mastering on this. I didn't want to do any mastering, so yeah. Right, so let's go on to the EQ. So every channel's got an EQ on it. I've used all the EQs on the other channels. Let's go to just the drum. So the kick drums. Added a bit more slap onto there, as you can see. So if we just put that over there, increase it. Got a bit more slap. You know what I mean? Only by about, I'd say, 4 decibels, which is all right. We go on to the kick out. I don't know. This one I've seemed to have increased the kick out. Probably not necessarily needed. Only by about 2 decibels. Again, yeah, maybe something that could be talked about later on about what I could improve on. Yeah, and with the top snare, I'll be honest with you, it's not as drastic as my first track. Literally, it's just cutting out the dirt from the low and the high, getting rid of that 500 hertz. Maybe, I'll be honest with you, I maybe could have put some, because I produced, I think that might have been the ring. No. And we've not got any snare solo, that's why we can't hear it, but there we go. So, right, we've got rid of that because there was a bit of a ring. Could have put a bit of slap on it if I wanted to, like, if I'm honest with you. Let's just see if we can find a bit of pop. There we go. So, you know what I mean? You got a bit of pop there. I'll be honest with you, I could actually leave a bit. Yeah, do you know what? That doesn't sound too bad, does it? The little bit of pop. Yeah. I think I'm going to stick that on +8, which is a bit drastic, but I think, yeah, a little bit of pop on that. That's something that I could improve. I'm going to leave that on there, so I'm going to leave it on there and save it like that, because I think that's pretty, I like it like that. So, the bottom snare, again, got rid of the dirt from the low and the high, got rid of the 500 hertz. I got rid of some unwanted sounds I just didn't like, -2, and pretty much just left it as raw as I could, really. Rack tom or floor tom, pretty much the same, if I'm honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Just literally getting some of the dirt out, getting some of the like from the low and to the bottom end, and then reducing the 500 hertz on both tracks, and that's about it, really, because they're just not used that much. So I don't feel that they maybe could be EQ'd massively or drastically. Right, overheads. My overheads, I've only used literally just some corrective EQ on both of them. Basically, not really any creative EQ, if I'm honest with you. I wanted to leave this track because there's not really any vocals in it, so it's it's just an instrumental track. So again, I've just literally got some of the dirt out from the sides and just literally taken some unwanted noises and unwanted sounds and frequencies that I just did not want, and that's about it. There's not really much creative EQ on the drums, if I'm honest with you. I've really left the creative EQ rather than a corrective EQ. Like I've busted the drums and then put the creative EQ just as an all on the whole drum. So if we just solo the drums auxiliary, this is really the EQ that's just making it, you know what I mean, it's just making it sound nicer. So if we reduce that down, boost the kick up, you know what I mean, we'll leave it like that. This is the creative EQ. So what I've done is rather than use a creative EQ on every single channel, I've basically I bust them all together and just use a creative EQ on just the bus channel, so just all of the channels as a whole, just the whole drum kit. So yeah, right, going on to guitars quickly. So no, going on to bass, sorry. The bass, again, I don't know why I've done this. I've reduced some of the bass down, like the dirt down the side. Probably shouldn't be doing that because it is a bass, and some unwanted sounds again that I just wasn't too keen on. Maybe could reduce the higher frequency down just a bit, probably maybe to there. But I think at the moment it sounds alright. Yeah. So the guitars, right? The guitars literally reduce some of the dirt from the sides. So the low and the highs, and then again 500 hertz. And some unwanted sounds I didn't really want to boost any of the frequencies. Like recording a lot of most of the guitars, I didn't want to use any of if you want to go like any of the creative EQ, like any of the parametric like Logic EQ as a creative way, like boosting frequencies like here or there. Do you know what I mean? I mainly used the tube tech really. So we've got two on here, which I don't know, maybe a bit uncalled for, but this is this is my creative EQ. So I use the parametric EQ, like the Logic, as my creative, and I use the tube tech as my creative because I just think it gives such a nice sound. On here, yeah. So that's the left guitar, and it's the same on the right as well. Different sounds, we use different guitars, we use the same amp but different guitars, so that's why it sounds a bit different. Again, the EQ is different on here. Is it different? Yes, it's different. So I've different, like you say, you've got a different sound. With the corrective EQ, there is some sounds that I've reduced, as you can compare it to the guitar that's on the left. The other one. No? Oh, we can only open one at a time. Great. So yeah, compared, like, you see what I mean? Got rid of some of that compared to, do you know what I mean, all the necessary frequencies that I did need to take out there. So really, yeah, that's the EQ on a whole of the whole sort of individual tracks, and some buses, like bus tracks as well. So let's move on to the compression. Right. So like I said, I've only used the compression. Well, I've only used the compression on one channel, so let's just talk about it. So there's a bass. Let's just play the bass. So again, when we recorded it through the Mesa, it gives such a warm sound. If I had more time, I would have used the Joe Meek. I would have loved to have sent it out on, because I would have felt it would have, well, hearing it and using it before, it gives such a warm sound. But I just stuck with the Tube Tech compressor. Used minimal, nothing above 2. You know what I mean? Maybe probably even a bit too much if it had push, but I feel, you know what I mean, it's not, you know what I mean, it's not massively like heard the compression, but it's just cutting out some of the crispy bits on the sound and of you know what I mean, of the bass. So yeah, that's really well, the compression on a whole. Only one channel. It's looking pretty good for me. Yeah, so the effects used, I've used chorus on the guitars. I was not really a big fan of chorus. I don't really like using many effects. The only effects I like using really are reverb and delay. But listening to listening to the guitars, I feel that the chorus did need some sort of, do you know what I mean? Some sort of like, something about it, do you know what I mean? The chorus gives it a bit more flavour. wanted it minimal though. I didn't want anything like. If I remove it off, do you know what I mean? You can't hear it at all. But I left it on. If I click on here, like I said, it's on 30 to 50 is quite high there. I left it on 32, and then 0.200. If we just play it from here, and I put it on like 18. So if I'm honest with you, I'm using the bare minimum of chorus because I just, like I said, if I put it up to there, whack it up there, it's just, I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? It just sounds too wobbly. It just sounds too, you know what I mean? It's not what I want. With my effects, I like to use in a way, not bare minimum, but like, you know what I mean? Only a little bit as much as I can. I mean, if possible. Do you know what I mean? Because I want all my instruments and all my channels to sound as raw as possible, as clean and as originally recorded as possible. Unless I'm making something out of MIDI, then whack loads of effects on. But you know what I mean, this is a live band recording, so yeah. The only other effect I've used again is reverb. Like I said, I put it on a bus channel, so I use Space Designer. Space Designer is probably the best reverb that's on Logic. Fortunately, I didn't record it in Studio One. If I did record it in Studio One, I would have went down to it and whacked on one of these soft tube, because at the moment I've been using this, and this is quite a big reverb. It's quite a big reverb, and I like this. But unfortunately, I don't think Studio A has this reverb, so I didn't use that. So we stuck with Space Designer. So yeah, it's yeah. I basically all I've done with that is just like change some of the filter preferences and the density, only just by a tad. Left really the reverb volume just literally where it was, really maybe reduce it down to I think 18, minus 18, and just left it there. Do you know what I mean? Left it there. The spread I usually leave, because what I do is then I can send that guitar channel to that bus, and I can send how much I want to the reverb bus, which is brilliant, which is what I've got, which is 12.6. So we boost it up. It's got lows. Again, I don't want lows. I feel on this track you can really hear the reverb. Do you know what I mean? So I feel maybe it might be a little bit too much, but I think it gives the guitar a bit more character and a bit more like the nicer sound. So I like it like that. So maybe could reduce it just a little bit. Maybe what? Maybe. I mean, like 15.6 might be alright, but I don't know, I feel 12.6 is not too bad, but listening, do you know what I mean, I maybe could reduce it and maybe give it a bit more, do you know what I mean, because it does sound maybe a bit trashy to the ears at some point, especially when it comes into the breakdown like here. Where is it, like here? Do you see what I mean? It's a bit too much really, but I think it's all right. I think it's okay. Again, I can talk about that later on in improvements. So right, let's move on. Melodyne, we didn't do Melodyne. Automation, I'm not too sure about. I don't think I did any automation on this track. Again, no, I didn't do no automation this track, so we don't need to talk about that. Yeah, this is just totally a static mix. Learning how to static mix has really made the fact that using automation is not necessarily. You know what I mean? I think I'd use automation for effects rather than for mixing. Simple as, do you know what I mean? That's what I've learned from static mixing and automation. Right, so before I come to the end of like talking about of what I could have done better and stuff, you'll notice that obviously with the drums there was a couple of mistakes that were made. So what I've done is I've literally just cut them up, and I've looped them over and obviously cut them up at points where obviously they don't really I could actually glue those up, if I'm honest with you, to the points where obviously they don't pop and anything, and I've put crossfades as you can see of what I've done to make a smooth sort of transition. So if for instance the best way to hear this is through the overheads, because the overheads just pick up everything. So you see how there's no pop. I don't know. I think I could. Let me go into the fade tool. I can see if I can. I can't remember what to do. Right click. I can remove the fades, and we'll play and see if we can hear a pop. Actually, no, we can. that's quite funny. Actually, no, we can't hear a pop. So I don't know. Let's remove them all. Oh, hang on. see if we can hear any pops. I'll remove a couple of them, see if I can just put an example in and just go. No, you can't hear a pop there, damn. No. Bear with me 1 second. Right. Oh no, so I've actually put these together quite well, so the point where I actually don't need any fades. So, yeah. I can't believe this. So no. Don't think you can really hear it, no. No, you can't really hear it, so I've actually done that quite well, so yeah. Let me just unsolo and just solo this one. Oh wait, I think you can, yeah. Yeah, you can, yeah, sorry, yeah. It's just because I had all the other tracks playing and you couldn't hear it that clearly. So listening to the snare is a great example. I can remove the rest of this off and we can listen to it. So if we remove that, you can hear the fact that obviously that they pop and jump. With the fades on, you can't hear it, so do you know what I mean? Especially at the start, I can hear that really badly at the start. Do you know what I mean? And if we just put if we click undo and put them all back on, I think it's all being put back on and we play it. You see what I mean? You can't. There's no pop. There's no jump at all. So yeah. I've used quite a bit because when recording this song, Hatman and especially Chris, who drummed in it, was the drummer. He explained to me this song is quite, it changes tempo during, you know what I mean, the main sort of part of this song. So like for instance up to here, and then when it goes into it, it's different. Do you know what I mean? It builds up. Do you know what I mean? And he even said this is quite a tricky song. The BPM is 145, which is quite fast anyway. Listening to it, it does sound a bit, sometimes it does go out of time. Well, not goes out of time, but it does sound a bit. Trust me, it doesn't. It just, that's the way the song is. Do you know what I mean? So they did say it's quite a tricky song. It's probably the most trickiest song to maybe mix. So yeah, he did do a couple of mistakes, and that's where I just had to patch it over, copy some of the stuff, like some of the drums that were okay, and then just replace them over. And I think I did a good job. I think listening to it, there's certain things I pick up on that I maybe could have done better. So yeah. So what went well? I think the recording went really well. Again, I think, you know what I mean, I think the drums sounded really good. And recording the guitars were just a breeze. You know what I mean? Like the amp that we used was just brilliant. What didn't? I'd say like the drums. I said they were well. That's because I like the sound of them, but I think recording them was a bit difficult in a way. Like you say, it was a lot of takes. Because well, we've got these 3 takes here. If we didn't like those, we could use those. But we did have others that we deleted. So that's probably what didn't really go well. What could improve? Again, just mixing. If I had more time, I'd come back to this. But I feel I don't want to come back to it and change it too much and then ruin it. Do you know what I mean? But there is little bits maybe I could improve on. Like for instance, listen to it. It does sound very bassy, and I feel I could reduce the bass down a lot. Just listen to it now. Maybe that even there. Do you know what I mean? Maybe even there. Maybe even the kick drums as well. Like if I take down, for instance, the kick out. Again, that reverb is very dominant. I can really hear that now. So again, going on to this and probably reducing it to down there, and I'd say that's good. And also with the hi-hat as well, as you can see. Yeah, just turn this down quickly. So as you can see with the hi-hat is not very dominant. That's what I mean. So maybe I could go back onto the overheads and EQ the hi-hat up more to get more of a better sound. So yeah, really out of all of that, that's all the stuff, yeah, that I could probably think of maybe to improve. Yeah, so yeah.